given for any of this. The alien story is now substantiated, revelation, time travel, group spenda, and no records will ever be produced from a single person gaining any of the special powers, knowledge to describe this or that, motivating and thinking of, to see the lack in intelligence. No, it's the intelligence that's above average, and it's a highly creative, resourceful mode of being a man, with such a juicy prospect of transmitting, credulous, quick to accept whatever your tone. No. In fact, by default, the cautious spectacle fellows, friends and driven by narcissism, supremacy over others in their logic, which is a no-no, and is always compelled by deeply humanitarian instincts. Of course, there are folks out there who are gullible and produce submissive modes, power hunger. They're escapists. And they're lazy, which is a huge mistake to assume that these successful recruits, manipulative groups, depend on the presence of these traits. While we're hunting them in these Miat caves, we use crucial words to recruit them by our group and subjecting them to a process of alien spirit clusters, presenting in a bold way to us Ian Iskalfu, and the sequence of experiences is not interrupted by no other spirit but her. A key psychological element that has been established by me and eased the entry light criticism. Later on, I'll be looking at how this is done. Just as I can become distracted by the red hair personality deficiency and become misleading by the mush of predisposing circumstances, some psychologists generate lists of factors that can leave us vulnerable to manipulating groups and practice light, weak family bonds or a reasonable movement. The problem is, when we don't find ourselves reflected in those lights, we can be left with the impression that we are vulnerable and the family bonds satisfying ourselves at risk, which is why we do have strong family bonds that might put people at risk. And some people are recruited by their relatives, and if their whole family is indoctrinated, then they're born into a manipulative group. In these cases, even if you wake up and you smell the cool air or Kool-Aid, strong family bonds might make you feel bonded to the group and ask for disconnection from your family. Members of manipulative groups are a diverse population, and they serve creative, wishing one, and hook us in it. And ain't that great? Ain't that just wonderful that we can all come to this conclusion at once and get over and transcend going through life convinced that we possess almost clinical objectivity, that bonering, delivering deception to the odd, quirky optical illusion, generally perceiving reality as it actually is. And that makes the decision more rational and gives us the over a century social psychot ripping that fantasy apart, conducting experiments that elicit the most bizarre, counterintuitive human responses and exposing a gamma of distinct biases, out of which distortions of perception in his own specific way gives him a landmark concept, crucial for psychology in the 1950s. The brain waves and the antennas, paradoxical human behaviors. Leon Fastiga gave me that clue, and it was described as the arguably biggest manipulative group argument, which wasn't only relying on the existent numbers of their influence, but also actively exploited to recruit new members. fasting, going quickly, seeking consistency within their cognition, our thoughts and emotions, memories, perceptions, and that when we discover an inconsistency, we experience a psychological discomfort that motivates us to try to reduce the conflict. And so this distance looks like an action, same being taught by all members of Group A that they're evil, when in fact they've always been friends we didn't know. Revealing that she's a member of Group A, and a dissonance appears and arises exactly at the moment needed for the dissonance in a number of ways. If I'm not hugely invested in the play, then I ought to opt for method one, simply adjusting my belief and the friends changing their member group. If we're equally invested in a belief, in a friendship, then we're trying to preserve books using method two, denial. We might refuse to believe our friend is a true member of Group A, granting her a special exemption because she's just not like those other folks. If we're more invested in the belief than the friendship, we might go for method three to select conforming information. We cherry information concretely and ignore information that contradicts. Any flaws in the friend's behavior or attitude can be turned against her, while her quickness, as it not, testing her in these colleagues' war. So we're tending to avoid this kind of information in the situations threatening further dissonance. For instance, if we deny that our friend is a member of Group A, we will want to avoid the subject in the future conversation, which gives us an or and selective information to cast our friend as evil. We may quickly break off contact for reasoning, but sometimes her response to dissonance is so horrendously distorted that I can't wrap my mind around it. It makes me vulnerable to further dissonance, reducing my need for avoidance. For example, if I say I'm looking for evidence that the friend is evil, I can't find any. But if time after time we're confronted with the curd, then how can we possibly preserve our belief that members of Group A are evil now? All is not as big as Saint, and I have a method for repackaging. Believing that no member of Group A can possibly be good, I'm repackaging my experience of my friend's goodness for something that's not. I may tell myself, oh, she's only pretending, it was all an act and a deception. And there isn't that insidious force of evil, and that all disguising itself as good. The wolf in sheep's clothing. Clovers, lucky ones. I'm putting friends in a loved one position, and even then, our goodness of it's topping over the evil aspect of avoiding, let's say, him confirming my beliefs. Later on, I'm looking at how manipulative the groups are, explicitly employing these kinds of extreme contortions, concoctions, and being so pretty in a win position, keeping their members despite the mental lockdown. Various experiments have shown me that it helps this dissonance exploiting the induced positive responses. As I've read once in a 1950s picture of an investigator proceeding with an attitude of deceit, advertising female subjects to join the groups discussing psychology of sex. And before being accepted into this group, subjects were told that they had to pass embarrassment tests. There were 3 experimental conditions. Subjects in the severe initiation condition are reading out loud the experimenter's list of words consisting of obscene as well as sexually explicit passages. Subjects in the mild wild condition read out loud that list, and they were not seeing the known initiation condition for what it was, an each subject was listening to the same pre-recorded discussion, deliberately designed to be boring. And they then rated their perceptions of the group. Intuitively, one way one might think that it's severely initiated into all the discussions, creating the careers and insinuating what the reversed was in true, severe, strong liking for the group, rating significantly more attractive, compelling ratings of the other group. So Miller and Hans were giving us the terms of endearment code for the cognition mode, and the subjects in this Salt A were not experiencing what the rest of the group was. The group wasn't worthwhile for them. They invested the time and the effort and money and motion in nothing. They did not spend a penny, and they wanted to believe that their investments would be wasted with us. So we've repackaged our services and put on a ridiculous label. Prices skyrocketed in our company. And we were not seeing ourselves as a worthless group, not worth a penny, Noxed in inches, just quickly acting and inducing attitudes that were raising the tracks. 69 betas with one experiment just priring and rating the chances of death of winning. So 72 bets were asked by a second experimenter, placing the bets in an easier said than done kind of attitude. And that sphere of influence was bettering their chances, obviously, at good one beta, giving a rating to the pre-bed experience, placing the bets. So starting the post-betting experimenter with the Bitcoin and warping it together in the inquiry of will that change his rating from fair to excellent? Studies like this show that the important role behavior plays a dissonance quality mode in looking at the components in this discernment.